We're back here for the conclusion of our SCGTour Spotlight with Kiki-Chord. Went 5-0, including against 3 Eldrazi decks and a Lantern, and then a cool little black-white life game brew at the end there. Not a ton of variety, but I suppose if you were wondering whether this wacky creature deck had a shot against Eldrazi, I think the answer is yes. Few issues with the deck. I mean, Jeff, hats off to you, and I won some games for sure, but I don't think this 62 card. I don't like it. Ben Rubin did it, got second in a Grand Prix. I don't suggest it, especially in like. I understand that you have some like additional redundancy because you have these like Court of Callings and these Court of Callings. Oh, I can't use the mouse or Moto. It's not good at this technology thing. We got these chords. Good lord, Moto. Got these chords, got these Eternal Witnesses, got these Restoration Angels. Those are all kinds of ways to, make your deck more redundant, but 23 lands is not a lot. Like, I didn't really even get mana screwed or whatever, but this deck is still mana intensive. 23 lands is not a lot. 7 mana creatures is a little lower than like Abzan Company and other decks like this. So I definitely don't want to play 62 cards in a deck like this. I mean, I'm sure he had his reasons, and the ones that stand out to me in particular are stuff like Lone Missionary, Obstinate Bailiff, Third Voice, First Spellskite. Those are the kind of cards that I think were the reason that this deck is 62 cards. And I'm not sure they're all necessary. Like Voice in particular, obviously I played against a bunch of Eldrazi, and maybe they shouldn't even be boarded out as much as I did, but I think cards like that probably are a little lower in effectiveness in the metagame as it stands right now. But anyways, like let's talk about some of the things I did like. This deck has very powerful top decks, very good at grinding. Courser of Krufix was a lot more impressive than I expected it to be. Just this nice body that buys time, gives you extra looks at your chords and other powerful stuff. Makes your fetch lands less damaging, obviously. It was a nice little element to the deck that was better than expected. Resto Angel, Pia Kiran Nalaar, Eternal Witness, all really powerful cards. We've seen that throughout the last 7 years or however long Restoration Angel's been around. Guess it hasn't been 7 years. Pia Kiran's pretty new too, but those cards are great. Eternal Witness is old though. But anyways, like Court of Calling gives you a lot of options for how to build your deck. I like that this deck is pretty low on combo elements. Like, I think the 1 Kiki-Jiki is the right number. It's nice to have that available to you. It also gives you some weird, like, backdoor lines into winning the games. Like, I think it was match 4 where I was able to block with an Eternal Witness on my opponent's 5/5 Endless one, chord for another Eternal Witness so that I had the option of chording for Kiki-Jiki on the following turn to win the game. Is pretty awesome, to the point where it made my opponent Blasphemous Act away his huge board. So stuff like that's sweet. It gives you a game against those kinds of decks, and just anything that is linear, it allows you to just race them, which is great. But that being said, it doesn't take up a lot of real estate in your deck list, and instead you can mostly focus on just filling in holes like Kasali Pride Mage Spellskite, some life gain, things along those lines. So I think this deck is, clearly there's been like, this is Jeff's, love child. There's a lot of thought and, consideration put into every single slot. That's why it's 62 cards. You don't just like arrive at these numbers by mistake. These are all the elements that he wanted to fit in, and he did not want to cut any of them. Big Game Hunter was absolutely sick, even though I'm not sure the only way that you can cast it is off Birds of Paradise plus Overgrown Tomb is the most effective route in the world to playing this double black card. I understand that you can madness it in Fantasyland with Reality Smasher. That is possible, but pretty unlikely. I think that this deck should probably have another black source available to it. I don't know. Maybe that's even the second black source is just bad, but The card in general was very good. I did some nonsense involving Restoration Angel. I corded for it a bunch. Again, I played against Eldrazi 3 times, but the card was great. As for the sideboard, I got to utilize like a lot of the Eldrazi stuff. Obviously, Dismember, Shriekmaw were good. Stony Silence was awesome against Lantern, and similarly would be good against Affinity. Fulminator, Sin Collector, Scavenging Ooze, Reclamation Sage, Spellskite, Revoker, all just nice utility creatures that help out with the Chord package in a variety of matchups. So they all seem reasonable. I think I've used every single one of them, which is awesome. The 2 Lightning Helixes, I guess, is some kind of like split nod towards Burn and decent against Eldrazi. I brought in a few times and is probably also solid against like Abzan Company and just like random zoo and creature decks, Affinity, Infect. So I get it. I think it's probably fine, but it doesn't strike me as a great sideboard card. Like Dismember is super efficient and kills just about everything, so it really represents what I consider to be like a powerful sideboard card. And Lightning Helix is kind of dirtily. So I don't really like those 2 spells, but I can get behind the rest. Boarded and just about everything though, which is good. It's a good sign. Yeah, I mean the matches went really well. I got lucky in a few spots. In particular, I drew Birds of Paradise a lot, and I think that really determines how good this deck is going to be. Is whether your mana cooperates with you. It's a very ambitious deck. Double green, double red. Technically triple green, triple red from Chord and Kiki, even though that's kind of not true. And then white and also a light splash of black. And you have to accomplish that with only 4 Birds of Paradise and not killing yourself in the process, which is a little difficult. The deck is just so much more powerful when you play birds on turn 1 that I would definitely consider playing a Noble Hierarch or 2. Just something along those lines to improve the consistency and give it more redundant mana creature draws. But other than that, I don't have a lot to say about improving the deck. As I just mentioned, I think, basically everything's here for a reason. They all serve a pretty good role, and everything felt solid. Again, Lone Missionary and Voice Resurgence stand out to me as kind of mediocre cards. Voice Resurgence in particular there's not like a lot of blue control decks running around, Snapcaster Mage decks, which is historically what that card is great against. But then again, maybe I boarded it out too much, and it's a little bit better in like these, I hesitate to say grindy, but these Eldrazi matchups where you are actually just doing a lot of attacking and blocking and interacting on the battlefield, and it can generate some big creatures that can go toe-to-toe with Thought-Knot Seers and Reality Smashers, theoretically, especially if you can stick a P in Kirinalar, but I played a couple matches against Cosmic Return Eldrazi decks, and definitely didn't want it there, so who knows, but yeah, sweet to 5-0 with this deck. It was definitely a lot of fun to play. I haven't been able to play a Chord of Calling creature deck in a while, not since it was back at Standard, and I definitely messed around with those, so I had a really good time today, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching.